this is going to be a short show, or
I
we're
think you're going normal time.
normal time.
Normal time. You
Normal.
know how we get to be chatting, chit
Oh,
chatting, chat.
we're so glad to have you, Victoria. It's so
Oh, I
good to
miss y'all
have you
tremendously, tremendously. Oh my goodness, y'all
back.
just don't know.
Well, we've got it, we haven't done this for, I don't think, for a while, but Ruth is gonna have some special things for us tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the weekend review and have everybody, especially you, Victoria, because just
Oh
'cause
my
we
goodness.
haven't heard your voice, it's gonna be good to hear your voice tonight.
Y'all want me to tell everything, do you?
Girl, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. We ready. We
All
ready.
right, all right.
Looking forward to it. And man, we're gonna have some things coming up in 2024. There's some
Yep.
things that we planned and talked about that we didn't get to do in 2023. So I'm excited about that. I'm
Lot to
excited
look
about
forward to. It's
meeting
awesome.
about that and getting that all together. But we can review. Victoria, you will be first. Ruth, you will be second. I will be last.
All right,
And
But
let's do
not
it.
least.
huh?
I said, but not least.
Not least at all. We
No.
love you, girl. We love you, girl.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Okay, we are ready to go. I think we got everything intact. Alan, whenever you're ready, we're ready.
I don't think
All
I.
right, I'll go ahead and get the open. You
Roll
guys
'em.
do a great job. Hope you can hear me all right.
Yeah, we
If you
can.
can't, you're going to get a big surprise here in about 10 seconds.
All righty, righty. We ready. We ready. Well, good evening, everybody. It is Sunday evening. It is 7 p.m. It is our favorite time of the week. And I am glad that I am here. I am glad that we have a full house tonight.
Yes, we do.
So in the house. Yes, indeed. Queen Victoria is
Woo.
back.
It's really me.
Ruth is here, and I'm
Hi.
glad Ruth is here. And
Yep.
Thank
we
you.
got Trelyn. Hey, Trelyn. Glad to have you in the house tonight. And Dr. Paula Obi is in the house as well. And we've got Boss Up Beauty Lady Lynette Hines is in the house. And there is Miss Linda Cooks. Good
Yep.
evening, good evening, good evening. And I know we've got some more folk coming in, and we're excited. We're excited about what is going to happen tonight here on Authors Up. And we're not going to tell you all about it right now. We're going to tell you about that in a little bit. But we're going to start off the way that we usually do, which is talking about our week in review. And Victoria, it's been what, a couple of weeks, I think, has it been three? Been
Mm-hmm.
three week? Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
3, 4, 5. It
Well,
feels
we are
like 5.
so glad to have you back. Tell us what you've been up
Thank
to while
you.
you've been
Thank you.
away.
Well, I went away initially. I went to New York for 2 days. My brother used to sing in a group when we were younger, and the group had their 50th anniversary.
Wow.
And so I was always hanging out with my brother, going to the concerts, and I was always, little Vicky in the van with the fellas. So I wanted to go, and I did. Was able to go. I was so grateful to be there, and it was a reunion like none other. You hear me? Hearing them sing the songs. I saw people I hadn't seen in over 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 plus years. It was absolutely marvelous. It really was. I got to spend some time with my brother and his wife, and we just had a good time. And then I went from New York to Indiana back with my brother because my mom was in the hospital. So, she wasn't doing too good. And so I wanted to go, lay my eyes on her. And so I got there and got to see her, and she was able to transition from the hospital to rehab. So I was able to be there with her with that. Then I contracted COVID. So the past couple weeks, I've been fighting COVID. So I wasn't able to be with you guys because I was sick. I had the laryngitis and headache and all that good stuff and all this congestion. It was just terrible.
This your second time?
Yeah, it was my second time having COVID.
Yeah.
And this time I didn't have the temperature, but I did have it has changed my eating. I start eating something and I don't want it anymore. So I've lost a couple of pounds, which is a good thing, but not because I'm not eating. Just everything just tastes funny. I lost my sense of smell and taste pretty immediately this time. I was like, wow, I had to cancel my flights twice because my ears were so congested. I just couldn't get on the plane. And the third time I said, I'm coming home this time because I was going 2 weeks longer than I was supposed to. So I got home and the trip home was not good because this congestion and all this was still going on in my ears. My ears hurt terribly. So I went to the doctor. So now we're trying some other things to help me with the congestion because COVID is gone, but I'm still, a little nasal here. And it just, my ears are not infected, but for some reason I just haven't fluid behind the ear. And so we're doing that nasal stuff and all this stuff. So, but I'm just glad to be back, y'all. I just feel like my life has been off kilter the past 3 weeks. Everything, it just hasn't been right because I missed my Sunday nights. I have been doing my business. I was laying on my mother's couch for almost 2 weeks. And it was so frustrating because I came to Indiana to see her and then I couldn't even see her. Crazy. It has just been absolutely crazy, but I thank God. I just thank God that I am back. How about that? So that's all that's been going on with me, just trying to get better and feel more like myself. But I've been watching you guys. You've carried on. You've carried the torch.
We tried, sister. We tried.
You did a good job. I was just on Facebook cheering you on. I was like, oh, but we still had some good authors.
You were missed.
So that's good. Thank you. I miss you guys too. I really did good. Yeah, I did good. But I've always enjoyed the books, and it's amazing. And guys, we're about to celebrate 4 years. We were talking about that before we came on live. We've been together now doing this thing almost 4 years. And I absolutely love every minute of it. And it has brought a joy to my life that I didn't even know was missing. And so I love you guys so much. And I just want to tell the world that I love you. And it's nothing like the three of us together. I'm telling you.
It has been an interesting journey, to say the least.
Yes.
One I'm really happy about. We've got Judy Rodriguez. Judy is having some audio issues. Judy, you may have to come out and log out and log back in again. We've been trying to see if anyone else is having audio problems, and it doesn't look like it. Looks like everybody else is doing okay. So you might want to try logging out and coming back in again, and hopefully we can get you.
Yes.
So we're gonna try. Ruth.
All right.
Yes.
What you been up to, Ruth?
What's certainly not on par like Victoria.
Oh, yeah.
What's been happening?
Why is it always me? You have these adventures, right?
I don't know. I have no answer for that at all.
We'll just call them that and just, they're all adventures. That's all it is. So, yep.
Judy's
no.
back. Thank you. Judy's back. We're glad
Good.
about that.
Good,
Okay.
good.
Angie's joined us as well. Thank you, Angie, for coming on. Okay, I'm not going to interrupt you again.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I mean, it's important to have all our listeners and our viewers. They can hear us, so
Yes.
we're not just sitting here miming for the next 45 minutes. So, no, I had the typical work week, but I am excited. November's coming, and we all know what that means.
Nano, whatever.
NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. So,
So nanu.
uh, so I'm getting ready.
You ready?
Getting ready. So we're gonna spend the next month writing.
Getting ready.
So I hear at least one of my one of my co-hosts maybe doing the same. No? Do I have to call you out?
This tonight may help me.
Okay.
I'll just say that, and then we'll discuss it offline.
No, and you know what? If you
it ought to be me. Let's just put it there. Put it out there. It ought to be me. I don't think I've really worked on that book since last November. So I got to be honest.
You got to finish it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So, but I'm excited. That's coming up. So I'm getting ready for that. Revving up on the publishing again. So helping with, I think I signed on like 3 new authors this past week. So I'm excited to help them birth their babies.
Good.
So yeah, that's what's been keeping me busy. What about you, Andrea?
It was an interesting week. It was real busy.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have some of those weeks where it looks like you don't have any downtime at all, and you all know how I am. I go from my next meal to my next nap. My next meal, my next nap. When I can't get those things in sync, it's not a good day for me. So, I missed some nap time in there. Missed some things that I wanted to do that didn't get to do, but I reconnected with some people.
Okay.
Which was good. I had some prayer assignments with some people, which was good. And it was just a busy week. There was just no downtime, not exhausting or anything like that. Just going from one assignment to another to another to another. But I did want to share because this was the culmination of my week. Alan, you got something that you can put up for me? I think he does. I had the opportunity to take a little time off. And when I did, do you see that?
Oh, look.
And for our listeners, go ahead and describe that.
Look, when I looked at that, when I got up and I saw that, and you can't see it all the way, but that rainbow,
there's a rainbow
from one side and just touched down in the water on the other. And this particular shot, the light from behind the cloud right above it was just amazing. It was
beautiful.
Just amazing. And we thought that it was supposed to be cold and the temperature was going to drop and all of that. And we had 2 phenomenal days, just beautiful, beautiful weather. I took a lot of shots of the sunrise and sunset and all that, which I will use as background on our upcoming prayer program. So, I'll be reaching out to you all, the Griffin group, to get that done by the end of the year. But thanks, Alan. But it was
beautiful. I'm so glad you had that.
It was just a reminder that we are not alone.
Amen.
That God knows everything that we're going through. He knows exactly what we need to be refreshed and renewed and strengthened and all those good things that make us who we are and that help us to do the things that we do. So with everything that went on and as busy as the week was and everything that I had to to accomplish. There was just that moment. And that rainbow stayed there for the longest,
Yeah.
Oh,
for the longest time. And it was just like him saying, you know what? I got you. And I just want
amen.
this little bit of time and just reflect on me.
Thank
Just
you for
look at
sharing that. It's
what
so
I do.
beautiful.
Look at what I'm able to do. Look at what I'm able to show you. This is your peace. This is your rest. And I'm right here with you. And
Amen.
it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I was just so happy that I caught it,
Hmm.
that it was caught at all. Because usually I'm the one that everybody said, did you see the rainbow? And I go, oh, when? Where? Missed it. Didn't get to see it at all. But this
Oh, how nice.
I got to to catch. So I wanted to be able to share that picture with you guys.
Thank
'Cause it was
you.
really a good moment, really a great way to end a busy week. So
Hmm.
that was
Amen. Amen.
you. And now we are getting ready for something very, very exciting because it is always exciting when our co host, Ms. Ruth, shares things with us about writing. She has a knack for finding the best tips and tools that are necessary to help keep you engaged, keep you going, keep you writing. And the fact that she mentioned the writing challenge, this is the perfect time for
Yep.
her to talk about the creative writing process and give us some tips with that so that anybody who wants to join in the struggle, not struggle, join in the joy of the NaNoWriMo More Challenge. This is the place that you want to be tonight. So if you know a friend or anybody who is looking to write, wants to improve their writing, wants to get started with writing,
Yeah.
share this program because this is a broadcast that's going to help them along their way. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Ruth, I'm excited. I've seen some of the things that you have that you're going to share with our listeners tonight and our viewers tonight. So you have at it, ma'am.
All
Teach,
right.
teach
Thank
us.
you so much. So, we have shared a lot of writing tips on this show in the last almost 4 years, which is awesome. Um, so when I saw that this was coming up on the schedule, I was like, oh God, what am I going to do now? And it was really neat because my son gave me this for my birthday. And it is a
Oh,
little container with dice that allows you to it's what they call it is a solution for writer's block. So you can roll
oh,
these dice and it'll give you options on how to write. And I thought, well, it's for creative writing. So let's talk about that.
I love that.
Yes, it is really neat. And I've been playing with it more than have been
The more you
utilizing
use it
it.
right, you've been rolling the dice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So, um, yeah, so let's talk about creative writing. And I thought, most of the trainings that I do either at work or, off work, I always start off with shared terminology, make sure that we're all on the same page. What is creative writing? I mean, we've heard, there's college classes, there's high school classes, but I thought let's all start out on the same page. So, creative writing is an original writing that expresses ideas and thoughts in an imaginative way. It draws on the imagination. It's usually poetry, fiction, novels, or short stories, plays, novels, personal essays, creative nonfiction, even songs. So, we think of writers, we don't think of songs, but
Songwriting.
somebody has to write the lyrics. So,
Right.
and this is different from academic or journalistic writing. Think, for those of us who are a little bit older, Dragnet, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts.
Right.
So,
Just the facts.
so if you're writing a journalistic piece, if you're writing, academic, this is not it. So that is the difference between creative writing and everything else. So the genre that you choose, some people are great at short stories, some people are great at epic stories. You find what you find the method that's best for you. You find where you excel best, and that's where you write. So let's talk about tips to improve creative writing. And I got the source for these are the Writers College blog. So I want to make sure and credit them. But these are, if you have a story that's burning in you, if you know that whether it's fiction and nonfiction, you want to tell your memoir, but you want to do it in a creative, imaginative way, you want to keep these tips in mind. So there are 10 of them. We're going to go, we have a few minutes, so we're going to try to go through all of them. And you guys jump in, questions, comments, any of that as we go along. So, number one, do not underestimate your reader. So, be careful of the intimate details that you add. Everyone has a voice when they write. Let it flow naturally. Some authors, right off the top of my head, like Stephen King, they're wordy.
Okay.
Just, you're going to pick up one of his novels, you going to get several hundred pages. And that's okay. Justin Cronin is another one. His first book was a show a few years ago, and I can't think of the name of it. Please forgive me. But his first book was about 800 pages. His second one is about 600. So some people are just wordy, and some people are not. If you're not wordy, don't be wordy. And that's basically it. Use your voice to write the same way that you would talk. So don't start adding unnecessary details just because you think, oh, this is how other authors do it. Just
Okay.
do it the way you would do it. Um, I wanted to share this quote because you guys know I love quotes. This one's from Mark Twain. Substitute damn every time you're inclined to write very. Your editor will delete it and the writing will be just as it should be. So don't put unnecessary words or details in there. Just trust your voice. And then this goes to the next one, edit. So, again, we've talked about how those are two different processes. The editing process, as long as you put stuff down on the paper, the editing process will help you weed out what you don't need and it will help you keep what you do need. So, edit, write, edit, and then get an editor because even the best of us will miss stuff. If you're sitting there reading what you wrote, your brain will automatically put in the words that you somehow missed. So get an editor.
That was one of the best tips you ever told us. And I have used it ever since you said it, no matter what I'm writing.
Oh, yeah. No, I've heard stories. I mean, even I'm a Neil Gaiman fan, and he told one story about how when he published one of his books, and this man, like multiple of his novels have been adapted to television and to screen. He missed something and he caught it after it was printed. And the humility that which he shared this story, he was like, well, you know what? We all make mistakes. So if someone on his level makes a mistake, we
Right.
shouldn't feel bad, but we should understand he has an editor. I should have an editor.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
all
Here's
right.
something there, and I didn't ask you about this beforehand, Ruth, and I should have because two links in with 6 for me,
Yes. Mhm.
and I either would like for you to talk about 6 now, or when you get to 6, bring 2 back in.
We can jump into number 6, and that's fine. These are not in any particular order, so we can
Okay.
move
Let's
them
talk,
around.
let's talk about that because I got a question.
So, the next tip then we'll talk about is to check your punctuation. And this is something that I'm seeing even at work. And I don't write prolifically at work, but there's enough to catch my attention.
Mhm.
Writing rules change, grammar changes every few years, and how we use commas a few years ago are now changing to how we use them now. How we use semicolons, how we use exclamation point, all of that. It changes every few years. So it's good to follow trends, for lack of a better term. You don't necessarily completely rely on, and this is, a lot where I see these trends, even like Microsoft Editor or something like that. I've noticed how where I used to put a comma, the books that I wrote 10, 15 years ago, when
Mhm.
I open them up, it is now showing me an error where before it was, oh no, you're good. So
Mm,
it's good to keep up with those trends, and just see, where it's changing, because, bad punctuation will draw the reader's attention away from the way the story should be read.
okay.
So you want to be careful with that. Even certain things like, uh, we used to put two spaces after periods.
Right. Right.
Now, when I began writing, I was like, no, we don't do that anymore. So I started correcting people, and I have a coworker who is, I guess she falls into as a Gen Z, Generation Z, and does that. And I'm like, why? She's like, well, that's the way I was taught in school. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's coming back, and I'm not sure why. And there's a big argument online about why people do that and why people shouldn't do
Right.
that. But it's just, you'll find that these trends go and they come and they go and they come, same as their clothes. We're wearing bell bottoms again and stacked heels and midriffs, and now we pull our pants up all the way up to under our bra, and just, I heard even shoulder pads are coming back. So
Ooh.
I don't see that at my job. We have to sometimes I do look at materials that are presented to the board and things like that. And I'm not seeing that two spaces after period.
it's
It's
there.
just flowing with it. It's
Yeah.
that comma thing that's still a
Yeah.
little up in the air. Do you have a comma after the and? That one. If you have three words, I mean three parts to the sentence, so you say so and so comma so and so and is there a comma before that and or not?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
See, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Because when there seem to be different rules for poetry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I send the same piece to three different people to edit, I'm going to get three different things back. And I don't know. I don't know where to turn. A lot of times they say that with poetry, the punctuation almost depends on where you need the reader to pause,
Pause.
Yeah.
where
Okay.
you need the reader to, continue with that one thought, even though it may be on two lines.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and is that the general rule of thumb? Because I'm trying to do volume 2 of,
Mhm.
and it is so, and it's just working my nerves already, and I just haven't even started that process yet. But who's the best? Who's the final say? The editor? With the editor?
Honestly, when it comes to poetry, it's the author.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So unless you're just far out left, and that's
Mhm.
right. Unless you are just far off the grid, I mean, honestly, poetry has its own rules.
Mm.
So it doesn't adhere to grammar as much as, say, prose, or a novel or nonfiction does.
Right.
So
Right.
as long as it's not, again, you'll want to think about how your reader is going to take this. As long as it's flowing, the breaks are different. You have lines that are running to the next one. Um, it just, you as the author of that poem will decide what is best, how you
Okay.
want to punctuate that.
Okay. That's good.
So,
That's all I needed. Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, um, all right. Well, while we're on this, we're going to go back to now number 4, since I want to keep it all in the same vein. You want to use strong words. So this does not counter number 1, because again, you want to speak the way you speak, but you also want to be mindful of the words that you use. And I have another quote, Robin Williams from Dead Poet Society. Avoid using the word very, because it's lazy. A man is not very tired, he's exhausted. Don't say sad, use morose. Language was invented for one reason, boys, to woo women. And in that endeavor, laziness will not do. It also will not do in your essays. So, great
Okay.
film. Everybody should watch it. But that brings up a strong point. Again, you want to be true to your voice, but you also don't want to tax your reader. Again, going back to point number one, don't underestimate your readers. So
Mhm.
think about what words you can use. It's not about, again, like you said, not being very tired. You're exhausted. You're fatigued. Think about the words that you can use that you could fit into your everyday vernacular, your everyday voice. And again, if you have, this is one of the best examples that I find when someone is using uh, people are speaking back and forth. He said, she said, he said,
Mhm.
she said, she said. That gets tiring after a while.
Right.
She spoke, he responded, he said this. So, there are different ways of saying something that would fit, and it helps, it enhances your story. So think about that. Um, Give your characters life. Make sure your foundation is set. And when you do that, you make them believable. Give them purpose, give them conflict. What makes them human? Even if
Mhm.
there's just secondary characters, they need to be real. And then allow your characters to tell their own story. Don't force the direction. If it's going, don't force the direction it's going in, just to have the story set up a certain way. Make sure you set up your characters to be realistic and allow them to tell the story that you want them to tell. So, in that show, don't tell. I've shared this one before. Entertain your reader. Let them see, hear, feel, smell, laugh, cry, hate, love. Let them experience that world you're trying to create. Don't just tell them about it, because the worst thing that you can do is just sit there and dictate all of that to them and have them leave feeling having not felt anything at all.
Could you expound upon that a bit? What do you mean? Show them.
Before you answer Victoria, because I think you can answer my question in
Okay.
Victoria's in the answer to her. When you're talking about your characters and writing about the characters and showing them and not just telling,
Excuse me.
is it the goal to make sure to write in such a way that I will pretty much feel or see the character the same way that Victoria would? It's like if my story were an accident and I had to report as an eyewitness, would
Okay.
I have the same
No.
eyewitness testimony as Victoria? Should I be writing that way so that she's seeing exactly what I'm seeing?
You should be writing what you're seeing and what you're feeling. Now, everyone is coming from every reader is coming from a different experience point. So they're going to pick up on different things.
Mhm.
They're going to feel different things. Again, think about when I wrote When Love is Angry, even though that's coming from the standpoint of someone who was married, who experienced depression, who experienced, what I experienced, that is not what my readers got out of it. Not entirely. So
Right.
let's put it that way. So
Right.
everyone, based on their own experience, will get something different out of it.
Okay.
But you have to be true to the story you want to write. So show, don't tell. Um, think about an accident. If you are in an accident, all right, let's back up. So when I broke my toe a few months ago,
Mhm.
so I went into the room. I'm making the bed up. The suitcase is on the floor. Now I'm telling you, I stubbed my toe. All of a sudden, I felt pain. I felt this. I saw this. I go into the kitchen. My toe is turned the wrong way. It's starting to go purple. I need some ice. I described the pain. So
Yes.
instead of saying, "Oh, I broke my toe and now I'm on my way to the hospital because of this,"
Yes. Now
that
I
that
get it.
is what you're looking to do.
You
You
drew
want,
you drew us in by your
yes,
description of it.
yes,
Got you. You
yes.
made us feel what you're feeling. And in my mind, when you said purple, I saw your toe purple. I got it.
And
Okay.
that's not an unnecessary detail.
No,
In
that is
that
not.
case, that detail is very necessary
Right.
for me to be able to see and not
Yes.
just hear what happened with
Yes.
your toe.
Yes.
Got it.
So
Got
an unnecessary
That part.
detail might be,
My toe was purple, red, black, and green.
yes, thank you. So, you want to think about how much
Gotcha.
you'll need to share in order to tell
Gotcha.
that. So, yes.
Like that.
And while we're talking about grabbing attention, think about how you want to start your book. You think about your hook because that's what's going to pull your reader in. I have some opening lines to some books. Octavia Butler. If you haven't read her, she's a great author. She wrote Kindred in 1979. She started off with, I lost an arm on my last trip home. You don't know what that book is about. That may draw you in to find out, okay, what was
in the
the first
world?
trip home? How many, why did she lose her arm? And how many trips home? Where was she going and all of that? So
I thought,
this one I had to,
I thought you were getting ready to say how many arms did she have?
You know what?
that's a valid question. She may have,
How
she
many
lost
trips
an
home?
arm. So obviously she had two, but
At least.
how many she
at
left
least.
with? Yes. Or this one, I had to look this one up. Every summer, Lin Kong returned to Goose Village to divorce his wife, Shiyu. I thought, I actually had looked up the book and read about it. So the author is Ha Jin and it's Waiting, 1999 is when it was written. But that one was an interesting story because it was written during the revolutions in China. And they had, we talk about in North Carolina specifically, once you're separated from your spouse, you have to wait a year.
Right.
In China back then, they had to wait 18 years.
We're talking
So,
about Rue.
What?
and that's what I'm saying. That drew me in enough to go find out about the book. So he had to wait 18
Oh,
years to
my.
want to divorce his wife. So there's a whole story to it. It's not entirely happy, but it was interesting enough to draw me in. It wasn't even happy. I wouldn't put that.
Right.
But this one, I was surprised to see a white man walk into Joppy's bar. That was Walter Mosley, Devil in a Blue Dress, 1990.
That was a good movie too.
Yeah. Well, yes. So think about how you're going to start your book because that's going to draw your reader in. So, and talking about beginnings, let's talk about endings. Give your reader a satisfactory ending. It doesn't have to be happily ever after. It doesn't have to be love won. Sometimes love doesn't win.
Right.
But tie up the loose ends. Don't
Right.
leave your reader hanging. There's nothing worse than a cliffhanger. Cliffhangers belong on TV, on series that already got
Right.
greenlit for the next season.
I hate
So,
books like that. I hate books that leave me hanging. I don't like
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
But
So
chapters that leave you hanging are a good thing.
what's that?
Chapters. When you have a cliffhanger in the chapter.
Yes. As long as the next chapter is in the same book.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
you want to make sure to tie up any loose ends. Don't leave anybody hanging. Don't leave someone questioning, okay, well, what about this?
Yes.
Try to resolve it. So,
Yeah.
let's see. Okay, just two more.
Okay.
Challenge yourself. Do you find it trying too hard to write in a specific genre or style? You only write short stories. I mean, you're good at what you do. And I said that earlier. Some people excel at writing novels, but can you do other things? I discovered this year that I can actually write fan fiction. I never intended to, but you're starting off with characters in a world that another author built, and you just have to take that over there. So, take that over to your story. And I found, even though I've written only original stuff, I've discovered that I'm good at this, but I wouldn't have discovered it if I hadn't tried it. So challenge yourself.
Right.
Andrea, you wrote your first novel a couple years ago.
I did.
Yes, and it was excellent. So
Yep.
Thank
it's called The Train. You should get it, Andrea
Yep.
Hines.
you.
Um, but that's the thing. If you don't challenge yourself, you don't know what else you can do. I know I don't like to write poetry. I don't like I Andrea, I'm sorry. I don't do poetry. I'm sure I could, but that's just not my
I'm not mad at you.
okay. So
I wish I could write some of the things that you do.
Right. Her
Before,
mind. I want to go inside her mind.
no, you don't.
I don't. You don't want to go up there, Rufus. You don't go play up there.
You're good. You're good. Just wait till I put it on paper.
I don't want to miss this though, because Trelyn had a
Yes.
question, and it is you can't use a cliffhanger. She's asking about using a cliffhanger for books in a series.
That's different, I think.
Yes or no?
The answer is yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. And here's the thing, because I read a lot of comments because you want to know what readers think about your books. And you
Mhm.
start off with the negative ones. Because if your book is great and people love it, great. Get to those later, but start off with the negative ones. And the ones that I've seen so far, most people are like, "Oh, I hate cliffhangers." Here's the thing. As long as you don't leave something unresolved, you can leave a cliffhanger as long as they know there's another book coming.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a way, because I mean, again, I'm giving my age away, but who remembers Who Shot JR?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That was the biggest cliffhanger on television. I would say ever.
Yep.
But here's the thing, there was a lot of the story that was resolved. They didn't leave other things except Who Shot JR. And that's what you're going after. You're going after you're trying to resolve. If you're writing some kind of series, you're writing, certain character developments. You want to resolve those in the book, but if you want to continue to the next one, leave it cliffhangers as long as you know and your audience knows that there's a next book. So you can do both. Just be mindful of that. Now, if you are, and think about some movies that are like, oh, we're going to take this one book and then split it into two movies.
Yeah.
That's kind of difficult because, again, you're taking what you did in that first part and then finishing it up in the second one. And that's frustrating to your audience. So I would say if you're writing a series, unless you really shouldn't be splitting it up like that, but you should try to resolve everything in that first book. You can leave a cliffhanger. Make sure you've got that next one ready.
Mhm.
So
If that answers your question, Trelyn, let us know.
Mhm.
If you need more, let us know. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So last tip, and this one's my favorite one: sober up. So here's my quote. I think it's fairly common for writers to be afflicted with two simultaneous, just contradictory delusions: the burning certainty that we are unique geniuses and the constant fear that we are witless frauds who are speeding toward epic failure. Scott Lynch. I started off my life as an artist, and one of the great tips that I got was when you're done drawing something, step away from it and then come back hours later so you can see it from a different view. And it's the same thing with your writing. You finish it, put it away, and then come back later on and look at it, review it, read it through. Um, Break it up into sections, read it sentence by sentence, section by section. Is it as good as you thought it was? Editing, punctuation, all that aside, does your story flow? Is your context there? Is everything there? Adds up. Odds are that you do have a good story. You may have to tweak this, change that. Maybe you'll move this from here to that chapter, but you won't see that unless you step away from it. So the reason I say sober up is, you want to come back to it at a later date when you've had enough time to step away from it. So if you can do that, I promise you your story will be 100 times better. So,
Okay.
and those are our tips for
Creative.
improving your creative writing.
All right. Thank
Very.
you, Ruth.
As always.
Yes.
As always. As always. And yes, offline, we need to talk about Nano right more.
There ain't nothing to talk about. Just do it. Just like the Nike commercial. Let's just do it.
Victoria,
Huh?
thou who hast been penning a book for a year or more.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I know. You're not going to try to put me on that same short yellow bus. I'm not going.
Okay.
I'm on the big yellow bus all by myself.
We love each other, you guys.
Yeah, we do.
You know we do. But yeah, I think I think under the number of challenge yourself that you're gonna get that book done this time. We know that you are. So
I'm not even gonna
rooting
say
for you.
anything. I'm just gonna
For you.
just do it. Just
Ruth, I thank you. I think you have given us some great
yes.
tools. You always do, and
Yes.
I'm really excited about putting some of these things into practice
Good.
and going back and looking at some things that I've written and critiquing them in a positive way.
Yes.
You know, to say, you know, I could have done this or I could have done that, or not to condemn what I've done, but just to be more aware in the future, just going forward, how to make it better and how to make it more interesting for the reader.
Mhm.
So yeah, this was good. I hope you all enjoyed it. Those who are listening in, Victoria can't tell you to get the book tonight, but she can tell you write the
Write
book.
the book.
Write the book. That's it.
Write the book. You can do it.
Absolutely, write the book. But there's so much that goes into this, and like I said, Ruth, we are so appreciative of all that you bring to the table when you come every week. But we are especially thankful when you bring us tips and tools that help us on this thing we call the writing journey. So thank you so much for what you have given us tonight.
Oh,
And
you're
is
welcome.
there any, Victoria, do you have any closing comment tonight? And then we'll turn it over to Ruth, and Ruth can tell everybody where to find us.
I invite everybody to join me tomorrow night. Join us tomorrow night, 7:00.
Yeah.
Living Life Victoriously will be the 2nd and 4th Mondays of October. I'm back.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be talking tomorrow night about strength or purpose, but one of those topics. So join me tomorrow night. Let's talk about it. I'm excited right here on ALH Broadcasting.
All right. All right. You guys better tune in because she's got some good stuff for you every time she comes on. And Ruth, do you have a final comment for the crew tonight?
Oh, well, yes, absolutely. So if you missed our live broadcast tonight, and I don't know how that would work since you're probably here listening to us, we invite you to come back on Saturday. We do have a replay on ALH, which airs live on SIBN as well as ALH Broadcasting on Facebook Live. So you can come back on Saturday. We also upload a video on YouTube, or you can download our podcast. So follow us on social media. You can find us at Authors Up Show on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to be on our show, if you have a book that you've written, if you want to share with our audience and you want to pitch to us, you can email us at authorsup@gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. And Trelynn said she's going back to change her opening sentence. Thank you. Peter Hood. So there's practical tips already. And Trelynn is just a brilliant author, and we're always glad when she comes on the program and she brings her perspective to us as well. So that is it for tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Authors Up. It is always a pleasure to have you, and we are always glad that we have something to offer in this forum for authors by authors.
Yes.
So we'll be right back here next Sunday night at 7 p.m. We encourage you to join us and see what else we have on tap. In the meanwhile, have an absolutely amazing week.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
see you right back here because you never know what's going to happen on Authors Up.
And that's the truth.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Nice bronze girls.
Good night, dear. Glad to have you back.
Thank
Yep.
you.